What's up, everybody? Happy week 15. It's the fantasy football playoffs. We are the Fantasy and Frames waiver show. We're here to give you all the latest information for your waiver wire for the playoffs so you can get your championship, get that money. Guys, we got a full house tonight. We got some pie bets happening. We got some Vampire League stuff to chat about. It's a good week. How's everybody feeling? Keith, we know you're in a sad place right now, but it's okay. It'll be fine, right?
I'm just mad that all these people are selling me out. Thanks a lot, Wendy. You're here to see me get a pie in the face. I thought me and Monica had really connected. Apparently not. Now she's just here for the pie bet as well. Okay, that's fine. You all enjoy it.
Look, there's no shame in our game. The way we bring in viewers, we'll take them as, however we can get them.
Exactly. We're not above bribery here at Fantasy and Frames on the Waiver Show. Guys, if you're watching online and you want to get in the chat, make sure that you jump on over to YouTube. If you're watching there, get some.
I don't think you have to anymore.
You don't have to anymore. You're right.
So I've seen Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, comments.
Wherever you're watching, you can put chat questions, comments, all of it in there, and we're going to see it. So that's a great time. All right, raise your hand if you're still in the Scott Fish Bowl playoffs.
What? No, Kev. How much did you miss by?
26 or so. Look, the 0 points from Jane Reed didn't help.
Yeah.
I
couldn't believe I survived with Bucky scoring me 3 points. Like that would have not been on my bingo card.
Yeah, it was famously not a good week for the old Scott Fish Bowl team. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm not even sure I care that much, honestly.
Yeah.
That went over everybody's head.
No,
we got it.
No, we got it.
I didn't, but I'm also stoned. So
that's okay. Is that because you're getting a punch in the face?
I mean, I would have probably been either way. It's kind of a tradition for this show, but did I hit it maybe one more time because of the pie bets? Sure.
Well, you guys have to stay tuned to the end for the pie bet. If you were here for pie, you got to wait till the end of the show.
We're like The Rock in his early 2000 WWE days, where we're going to be talking way too much about pie on this episode.
I thought you were going to say we've got to smell what The Rock is cooking. That's the only thing I know about The Rock. It's wrestling.
If you smell.
That's it. But I don't know.
Should have worn a nicer shirt, though, Keith, if you're going to do that.
Are you doing your Fantasy and Frames?
Okay, okay, that's pretty good.
That is fantastic.
Estimated retail value about $700.
Price is Right style. Guys, again, Vampire League got a win. We didn't make the playoffs. We came in 7th place. We just
so close.
But we got hot there at the end.
We did. We put up 213 points this week. 213. What? Yeah. That's okay. There's always next time. If we can't win, we're sure going to make somebody else worse. So that's our motto here in the Vampire League. So again, congrats to everybody who made the playoffs in your league. Hopefully everybody watching made their playoffs because of all of our excellent information here at Fantasy and Frames. Like always, if you want to get more in-depth waiver information, you can find Kev's article at fantasyandframes.com. You can also find
Already read it?
Exactly. You can find Gary's article for IDP help over at fantasyandframes.com as well. We are going to give you some IDP info at the end of the show, like always. We have some really great, fun news for you guys tonight. After week 16, I think we're going to do it after week 16, right, guys? The waiver show is going away, but we are not going away. Wait a
minute. We're not going to do our superlatives and stuff to end the season?
Hold on.
Okay, just making sure.
We are going to transform back into the Fantasy and Frames draft show, but it's playoff edition. I hope you Wayne's World guys get that. So all those cool playoff tournaments that are out there, we're going to be coming to you just like we did during the draft show, doing fun, cool drafts online, helping you guys.
Do we have any drafted teams that are doing well? I haven't even kept up with.
That's what we're going to do too. So what we're going to do is in between the playoffs, or the real NFL playoffs starting, and the end of the season, We're going to do an NFL superlative show, and we're going to do a recap of all the teams that we drafted during the draft show. We're also going to do all of our like tournaments, like the women's tournament that's out there. We're going to announce, like the winner on that. We're going to give updates for that. Any of those teams that we drafted, if you were part of that, if you drafted a team with us this year during the draft show, we're going to talk about those teams. Right now, the only one that I can think of that I can easily access, I think, is going to be, and I don't remember when we drafted this, but it was, wait, I can maybe find out here. Yes, back in May.
FFPC one?
The FFPC Classic Redraft. Guys, we drafted this May 9th. The playoffs just started in that. We got 6 people in the playoffs right now. We got Sean, we got Rachel, Kev, you're in there. I'm in there. Who is Quad Squad?
I'll tell you right now.
Or
I don't know who that is.
who's our quads? Well, if your name is Quad Squad or off,
Congratulations.
you go by on the FFPC, you're in the playoffs in that league, and that is a money league. So there is some cash money up for grabs in that one. But we got some other stuff to chat about too. Hopefully, did anybody do well in Best Ball Mania? Because I sure as hell didn't this year.
No.
Yeah.
It's not if you did not have Saquon Barkley or Jamar Chase or Derrick Henry, you're probably in the toilet.
Yeah. Last year I had like 5 teams make it in the first round. This year, big fat freaking 0. So
Not great.
that's a bummer. Big bummer for me. But oh well, that's okay. We got other best ball stuff. We did a ton of other best ball drafts, other drafts. So the end is not totally over. But what else we got, guys? Oh, Erica and I have some news. Did Erica get frozen? What happened down there? No, there you are.
She's just very, very still.
Was that what Erica's reading? Which is actually, if you guys were here with us last week and got in on some of our shenanigans. Well, real quick, actually, I just saw this. Charlene made the playoffs in her only BBM. Congrats, girl. Very nice.
100% advance rate. There you go.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Look at that 100% advance rate. Go get that money. The whole damn
Also
thing.
appreciate Charlene not saying she's only here for the pie bet. I didn't see that from Charlene. So thank you for joining us for another reason.
Keith, so sorry. You must have missed that.
While we're on the subject.
Oh, did she say? Wait a minute. Did I miss it? Did she school bus me? Charlene.
Mhm. She did.
Well, hers was a question, though, in her defense.
But she put in the emoji like she's happy. See, like the celebratory emoji with the little like party hat.
Y'all are
Charlene's
jerks. I just
dead.
want to let you know that, yeah. Like Kirk Cousins, all of you are dead to me. So,
well, I was gonna say you could just be just like the Lannisters, always pay their debts, even the pie bet debts.
yep.
Yeah.
Even the ones I probably could have got away with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eric and I have some fun, exciting news. If you guys were watching the show last week, we had some shenanigans about our love for romance fiction novels. And we decided to start our own podcast for that coming in January. So if you are a romance novel fan, you probably saw our tweet today, and we're going to be firing that bad boy up in January. And if you want to vote on what book we should read first, go on to Twitter. You can find my post, and there's a poll in the comments, and make sure to vote for what book you want to read. You want us to read first.
You need to talk to my wife. She would 100%.
Let's get Brittany on.
Someone that is also a big fan
Let's
of
go.
that genre.
Let's
I'm
get
excited
when
for
Brittany comes on to pie you, we'll make sure to let her know that this is something that is going on in January. I mean, it's 8:15. Should we talk about waivers? Probably, right?
9:43 timestamp.
That's true. 9:43 timestamp out there. We will start talking actual waiver information for
Can we
you.
real quickly before, I'm sorry, just real quick.
Pause the timestamp.
How do we feel about Bill Belichick in North Carolina? Seriously.
Oh,
I mean, I think he knows how to recruit the younger generation.
I
Well,
mean,
it's
his
different.
manifesto that he gave,
was that,
the
was that
UNC Brass
You
is
know what that was
shorter than
Oh, Stacy, get your head out of the gutter. Because I was going to say that I heard an interview, I think it was on the Pat McAfee show, where he was saying that in many ways, college football has turned into a form of the NFL, right? Because you have recruiting, which is, a little similar to the draft. And then with NIL, it's almost like free agency.
pay for play.
Yep.
Mhm.
The big thing that I saw, and I don't know if this has came out publicly, but one of the sticking points was his son would be named coach in waiting. And that was a very big deal to him. And is it bad that it actually makes me respect Belichick more that he is this close to potentially breaking the all-time win record in the NFL? And he seems more invested in coaching with his son and setting him up to, obviously chase his dreams and be a head coach than it is to try to, break NFL records. Because it kind of made me, I don't know, like him a little bit more.
Is Steve the one with the mullet that would always do the weird tongue stuff on the side?
He's the tongue guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep it there with that. But apparently gave the
We can have him on the romance fiction podcast.
Maybe get his girlfriend on there. I'm sure you guys have a lot more in common with her than him. But look, he gave the school a 400-page organizational Bible.
Wow.
I didn't know if that was real or not. I saw that tweet.
Knowing Bill Belichick, 100% believe it, right, Kev?
Yeah, like 400 pages. Yeah, I totally believe it. I mean, the dude obviously loves football. At least that 400-page Bible, dude must just love football to want to go to University of North Carolina. And at the very least, the other manifesto that was given by Luigi Mangione today was at least 256 words.
But they planted the cash on him. How funny. Like, I'm not trying to make light of this, but it's like, dude was okay with all the charges, but they definitely planted the money on him. That was literally his one thing that he said apparently in his video court arraignment or whatever, was that the money was planted by somebody, which I'm just like, that's what you're worried about, bro? You got bigger fish to fry if you're
trying to go to Pennsylvania Avenue. Clearly that didn't work. You got ratted out by
what is it? Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Got ratted out by the Hamburglar. How are you feeling?
Well, I like that the meme was like he should have gone to Waffle House. They would have like shot at the cops for him instead of like McDonald's selling him out.
True story.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah. So Charlene. All right. Timestamp again. 13:18. We are coming back at you with some QB waivers for this week. I put another one on there last minute, guys. I was super last minute with my ads today. So I added a couple things here and there that may not show up on our.
She was thinking pie puns, so she got a little distracted that she can say while I'm getting pied in the face.
Yeah,
so
I really was. I was
you.
really focused on the important part of the show, which is Keith getting pied in the face. Our top waiver considerations for you: we got Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Michael Penix. Also got, I threw in a little Bryce Young. I know we talked about him last week, but he's still available in 13%, or he's only rostered in 13% of leagues. So he's out there available as well. So Kirko coming in 46%. Rich, this is your guy. And
Rich, are you trolling me? Tell me the truth here. Like, I lose a pie bet because this guy is throwing picks like it's going out of style. And Rich goes, you know what? I think a way I can really stick it to Keith is not only did he lose that bet, my Vikings, pretty much crushed probably our playoff hopes, but I'm going to recommend the QB who pretty much did it to him.
Hey, at least when I did it in week 5, he went off for 35 points against Tampa. So
that's a good matchup this week if he starts for it as well. So
yeah, and that was the big thing was this week's matchup. I do really like it. Like, to be clear, he has had a rough 5 weeks. I think it needs to be mentioned. Maybe it's just that I like to pile on Kirk Cousins, but 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
We have that in common right now, Rich. I can promise you.
Before that, though, he was QB 11. Like, he was a top 12 quarterback. He was a QB1. And I do think that this week, I thought last week was going to be the get right game against the Vikings, just because they have been more exploitable in the past. But I think this week for sure he gets it right. He's going up against the Raiders, who've given up the 9th most points to quarterbacks, 19 points per game even. And I think that he does get right, and he returns back to that QB1 status.
Nice. Keith, do you want to talk about Michael Penix real quick, since they are on the same team? And then Kev, you can talk about the enigma that is Aaron Rodgers.
Sure. This is probably wishful thinking more than anything, as I'm trying to will something into existence, because Cousins got to go. Like we can't keep going. He can't keep getting away with this is kind of, I think, the thought that I'm thinking of. 0 touchdowns, 8 picks the last 4. I still think this offense has a chance to be like scary good. And we have been really limited. I hear a lot of people hating on Zach Robinson. What are you supposed to do with a quarterback who can't move and can't throw the ball with any velocity? I would say that both of those things really limit offense's upside. You know, even when you have Bijan, Drake London, we won't talk about Kyle Pitts, et cetera, Darnell Mooney, who's been just, and your boy Ray, and my boy Ray. I do think that obviously this is wishful thinking for this week. However, I think there's a very good chance that whenever the next loss is, which it kind of would be fitting if Desmond Ridder and the Las Vegas Raiders are the one who officially end this Falcons season, and Kirk Cousins' probably tenure with the Falcons, at least as a starting quarterback. I do think there's a lot of value in Michael Penix potentially and fantasy playoffs, redrafts, like some of these, tournaments that are coming up if you have just for the last few weeks, because this guy does have talent. He was the most pro ready along with Bo Nix of the QBs. And more importantly, he has mobility. I know that everybody likes to laugh because he's had all the knee surgeries and whatnot. He did run the fastest 40 time of any of the QBs who ran at the combine. Now, obviously, if Jane Daniels would have ran, he wouldn't. But we're talking about I think it was like a 4.49 40. So he can move as well. And I think that there is a chance that Penix is in before the end of this season. And the Falcons have a really friendly schedule rest of the way. Like outside of that Commanders game outdoors, how do you not, like this and say there is a smoke screen and they are going to make the swap before Monday, which I don't think is going to happen, but you could potentially, get the Raiders, the Panthers, the Giants, some really good games on your schedule rest away. So, I mean, if you're really hard up for quarterback, and in the fantasy playoffs, and that's the weakness on your team, it's not a bad guy to stash if you have a spot, just in case, because I do think immediately he's going to be fantasy relevant.
You like this? Sorry, you just said it, Keith, and I just didn't want to interrupt you, but what about the schedule? Do you know? Am I the only one who caught that? All right, whatever, that's fine.
The more you look at Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan and Roma Dunze in totality, not just talking about the fact they combined, Dunze and McMillan combined for 4 touchdowns last season, but Kalen DeBoer obviously was head coach, Ryan Grubb now in Seattle. That offense, the more you look at it, the more you think this could have been Michael Penix lifting up these weapons more than 3 good wide receivers lifting that offense. So it's worth the Falcons to give them a shot. If I'm in the playoffs, I'm not sure if I can trust a freshly minted Michael Penix in a week. If I already have more than likely I have it's really like a defensive move you're making so that somebody doesn't capture the upside against you. That would be the only thing for me.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah. All right, Kev, the metamorphosis is happening. Tell us about our ayahuasca king.
Look, I don't like it as much as anybody else, as the Aaron Rodgers hater I don't know about this group, because I don't know how Stacy feels. I know how Keith feels.
I love Aaron Rodgers. So
still,
yeah. Look, he's weird. Do I want to hang out with him? No. Do I love all that he brought to me as a Packer? Yes, I do. And I will.
But let me ask you this though, because in hindsight, it's really starting to feel those last 5-6 years, particularly the ones once you drafted Love, he may have been holding you back because the offense has been better since he left. That was his first 300-yard game in 3 seasons, I believe.
Yeah, since 2021, since week 13 in 2021, or week 3, I think in 2021. Look, Keith, I just enjoyed my Aaron Rodgers experience in Green Bay. And I'm fine with that. And he's weird now, and I'm sad this is how his career is going to end because he was a fun player to watch. Like, I love nothing more than watching him and Devontae Adams like connect. Like, so I can hold on to those memories in here. It's okay.
Fair enough.
Well, lucky for you, Stacy, because you'll potentially be watching that exact combination. Lots of old people go to Florida. For a fresh start. And you know what? Aaron Rodgers can certainly do that this week as he goes to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Second to last in DVOA. The second most fantasy points given up to quarterbacks. Dead last in EPA per pass attempt this season. Like generationally bad. Like twice as bad as the 31st team, which is Carolina, in EPA per pass attempt. So that's how bad Jacksonville has been this season. So look, Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson, with Devontae Adams. I know it hasn't been great starting him. You at least got a 300-yard game out of him, 339 yards and a touchdown. He's in the teens as far as I think it's around 16 and a half fantasy points per game the last 3 weeks. Like, it's not super great, but you're playing him for the matchup. You're playing from him for some efficiency that you can get out of him. And there's one swan song I think that we can, if we're going to play the hits before Aaron Rodgers becomes a Las Vegas Raider, I think it's going to be this week in week 15 against the Jaguars.
They're a pass funnel too, the Jags, because on top of Kev talking about how bad they're against the pass, if you look at least from a DVOA standpoint, they're much better versus the run. They're actually kind of a middle of the NFL DVOA. I believe they were 16th going into last week. I haven't looked this week to see where they're at, but that normally means, hey, we're going to throw more. And if you don't get Breece Hall again this week, which
that gives them one opportunity to why would you run those rookies out?
Exactly.
Hey, don't spoil my waiver picks in the running back category.
Well, sincerely,
I could have been talking about anybody.
I
could have been talking about Kene Wongwu.
Wongwu,
which is a real person.
Yeah.
He used to play for the Vikings. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, Rich, you better watch out. Aaron Rodgers might be coming your way if he goes the Brett Favre route.
I refuse. I
give it a Waffle House.
I will not football I will not football next season if that's
to be lifting weights in Del Boca Vista before you know it.
Yeah, as much as you enjoyed all those years, Stacy, of those fond memories of Aaron Rodgers, I was on the other side of that.
I enjoyed Aaron. Let's just say I enjoyed Aaron Rodgers until him and Danica Patrick started talking about the likelihood of shape-shifting reptilians in a non-joking manner. So, yeah, again, that's not a bit. I promise you, that's not a bit.
And the arrogance of the dude to go on shows and say, I want to play football next year, but not with the Jets. It's like, bro, Zach Wilson had a better winning record than you did as the New York Jets quarterback. And you're going to have the nerve to be like, I definitely want to play, but definitely not for the Jets. It's like, what else do you need? You got 2 stud receivers, one they traded for, Breece Hall. I know the defense has been disappointing overall, but a lot of guys on defense, and it looks like it's been a mess.
Yeah. I just make Aaron normal again. That's all.
Right? Amen. I need that shirt. That's amazing.
Zach Wilson's over doing TikToks with Bo Nix in his basement right now. I don't know if you guys have seen any of those, but
I haven't, but I will check that out because it sounds like
a riveting time.
Yeah. All right. So Bryce Young is my pick that didn't end up on our graphic because I am a procrastinator. Yeah. Sorry, guys. He is rostered in only 13% of leagues right now. Look, I get it. He only had 13.5 points against the Eagles, but that game was a lot closer than it seemed. And if you need some help in week 15, this is kind of like my little push for Bryce. Is it a great pick? No. If you're in the playoffs, do you want somebody who's going to give you more points? Of course you do. But if you're in a pinch, let me sell you on Bryce Young if you haven't already gotten him from all the numerous times that we've talked about him so far on the show. They do play Dallas in week 15. Dallas gives up the 4th most QB points in fantasy this season. And here's a little nugget for you. Bryce averages 7.9 yards per attempt and has recorded a plus 4.1% completion percentage over expected when under pressure since week 8, which is when he took back over the starting job, which is up from his 3.1% in weeks 1 through 7. Why does this stat matter? Because Dallas has given up 7.6 yards per attempt to opposing quarterbacks under pressure, which is the 3rd most in the NFL. So
and they just lost their best pass rusher too, which is a big deal. So yeah, I'm with you. The Cowboys defense is Irmos Erica really, really bad.
This whole team is trash.
But at least, you know what? The Carolina Panthers will go as far as another old man. We'll take him.
Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
Yep. Which, by the way, one of the guys, we didn't tout enough last week, say you needed a spot guy for the playoffs. Kevin's giving you Adam Thielen, yet another 20-point game. That's 10 of 22. I gave you Tank Bigsby, who got like 16 carries, touchdown. I gave you Brandon Cooks, who I know overall didn't have a great game. Scored we gave a lot of people last week that would have helped you if you were in desperate need. So what I'm saying is, we smart. Kudos to us.
You don't have to like. Trust me. You think I like being here touting Aaron Rodgers and Adam Thielen? It's like my brand is in shambles right now. But sometimes you have to just put it aside, and you have to change your your little way of thinking here. The old guys are producing.
I wondered who was off camera holding, our boy Kev hostage when I saw the Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, oh no, is there somebody else in the room? Kevin, blink twice if you're in danger.
Someone's kidnapped Jordy and is making you talk about Aaron Rodgers.
There's a person with a silencer and a gray backpack outside my window.
I had a quick question. This was totally off topic, but I wanted to. Well, not really off topic, but it wasn't in the sheet. But I because we had so much injury news from practice today.
Oh no, I know what you're going to bring up.
Well, okay. Is there any interest in like a Mac Jones, a Desmond Ritter, a potential Ben DiNucci who just got signed in New Orleans?
Did you see his tweet?
No, I did not.
Ben DiNucci, he said, "I have fun news. I signed with the Saints this morning. Source myself. Fairly credible."
That's
bench DiNucci.
I'm starting him just for that tweet alone. Kidding.
NDSU put that guy in the dirt in the net.
I would rather set myself on fire than play Desmond Ritter. And I know this is the Falcons team that just gave up 5 passing touchdowns. I'm well aware. But no way. Hard pass.
Well, I mean, poor Charlene's friend's nephew is Ben DiNucci. Just, come on.
What's a JMU?
Oh, man. All right. So no is the answer to any of those potential QBs.
I mean, kind of.
My brain went tractor beam on DiNucci. Who are the other guys?
Ritter.
I said Mac Jones, Ritter. I think those are all the new randos that we have starting this week, right? Potentially.
The best move I made in Scott Fishbowl last week was starting Grant Calcaterra over putting Mac Jones in my super flex. And yes, lo and behold, he outscored him. So I can't believe that Mac Jones, I actually was like, man, what happened to that guy? Because there was like an 8-month window where he was really good. And boy, I have no idea what happened in those first 10 starts or whatever, because it's been a whole different story since.
Yeah, if you have to ask yourself whether you got to start Ben DiNucci or Drew Lock, you might as well just download Duolingo, not a sponsor, and move to a different continent.
Can I tell you the most passive aggressive app on the face of this planet is the Duolingo owl? Have you guys experienced this?
Hold on.
I don't.
I downloaded it today. Actually,
what is the
so Duolingo is a language learning app.
Okay.
And so, so I was trying to learn Spanish for a little bit. I had like 116-day streak, and then
Ooh,
power went out with the hurricane down here and everything, and so like I lost my streak. And ever since then, it will send you little messages like it's some like spurned lover. Like, are you still interested in me? Are you still interested in learning Spanish? Am I bothering you? Like, that's what it says. And the whole time, like the app's face, like on your screen, like will change. Like when you're using it, it's all happy and smiley. And then when you're not, it does this like sad face, and it looks like it got like hit by a truck.
Is that what
looks like
turning
you're
off
starting
notifications? You
No.
still get those or no?
Yeah. I mean, if you turn it off, but if you don't turn it off, it will send you multiple notifications a day, like just like pestering you about trying to like learn your, like, are
Sounds
you
like
done?
stage 5 clinger to me, Stacy.
It is a stage 5 clinger. It's absurd.
I downloaded it 3 hours ago. No, like
get
not a
ready.
joke. So I would like to learn. Actually, I want to learn Japanese. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that.
So
All right, so next year you're going to be doing waivers in Japanese.
Big fantasy football community over there. I can see Kev becoming the Japanese fantasy football star.
Domo.
Well, okay, so Charlene, obviously big question. If Carr is out, is it better to start one of our bench warmers over picking up a dusty QB?
I mean, the bench warmers, is that assuming the Desmond Ritter, Cooper Rush tier of quarterback? I mean,
I think so. Charlene, clarify for us. Is that who you're asking us about?
over a dusty quarter. I mean, I know a dusty quarterback. I mean, I don't know, because you look at like there's a huge teardrop between like Bryce Young, Will Levis, and then you hit the Cooper Rush, Desmond Ritter, Drew Lock, Mac Jones. Like it is a Mount Everest type like drop off.
Yeah. Is Levis okay? He got hurt. He got banged up a little bit on Sunday.
That
Right?
hit, yeah, which I'm sorry. I sent a message out about that, about the body weight thing with Josh Hines Allen like landing on him. And I'm surprised like that didn't get more like national people talking about that, because I thought that was something that the league was trying to get out of football. But apparently if that had happened to like Caleb Williams, I think we'd have a national crisis.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, so Charlene was meaning like a Desmond Ritter, et cetera, beyond like a Rush Levis. And also Charlene, you're going to Chile on the 29th. That sounds amazing. Duolingo is a clingy X. Absolutely. All right, guys. So let's scoot on down to wide receivers. We got
3307.
Yeah, we get 3307. Thank you. We've got Cedric Tillman, Jalen McMillan, Tim Patrick for your options this week. We also got several questions here involving running backs, or not running backs, I'm sorry, wide receivers. So we will definitely get to those as well. Cedric Tillman, Keith, is he unconcussed finally?
I mean, I don't know that officially, but I would think with the injury happening week 12, we should be good to go this week. And I absolutely think this guy is somebody worth picking up, even if, say, he does miss one more week, because before the injury in week 12, he had played 4 straight games with 80+% of snaps. That was weeks, I think it was like 7, 8, 9, and then 11, because they had a bye on 10. 40 targets in those 4 games. So that's obviously 10 per, 24 receptions. That's 6 per. 5 red zone targets, over 74 points. It's almost 19 per. And then wide receiver 12, 3 of those 4 games. Cleveland, since Winston took over, boy, they are slinging it. 65% of their offensive plays are pass plays, 43.1 pass attempts per game. And then the remaining schedule is even juicier than it looks, because I know people would look at, say, Kansas City and go, well, that's not a great matchup. Kansas City, 15th in fantasy points to wide receivers. But the big thing, 253.7 passing yards allowed their last 3. That's 10th in that span. And they face a reminder, Bryce Young, Aiden O'Connell, and Justin Herbert without Lad McConkey in that stretch. So I think there's some real concerns about this Kansas City secondary. They're battling injuries. I understand that's a part of it as well, but it's not the matchup you think it is. Cincinnati, obviously, we know how bad they are. Cooper Rush again last night was able to put up some pretty good points against them. Miami, another team that they look very good on paper, but leaking oil. They've given up 258 yards per game over their last three, ninth most in that span, facing Drake May, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love. And then Baltimore is obviously just a treasure trove to opposing wide receivers. I get that maybe there's some concern with, so many mouths to feed, but he was right there with Njoku as the number one target that Jameis enjoyed throwing to, before obviously the injury. Jerry Jeudy is obviously, taken off since then, but I hate comparing him to this, but it does kind of remind me like Tillman's kind of a little bit smaller, like Mike Evans. And Jameis obviously had a lot of success with Mike Evans. It's been very similar with Cedric Tillman, where they have big plays. It seems like every game together. And I think Tillman could be a real playoff winner for some people, because we know that Cleveland's defense, also the other thing, is just atrocious now. I don't know what happened to that Browns defense, but I think Cedric Tillman, people have kind of forgot about him between just missing multiple weeks with the concussion and stuff. And maybe they're worried because of Jeudy and Njoku and even Elijah Moore getting the volume they are. But I think it's going to go right back to where Tillman is at worst, like the second or third passing option in this Browns offense. And again, they're throwing it 43 times a game since Jameis took over. That's 65% of their offensive snaps.
I think Cedric Tillman's one of their biggest receivers, other than like Njoku. Obviously, he's a tight end, but he's a big dude.
He's like 6'3", I think. But
I think all the 5 something.
Yeah, the Chiefs have like that scarlet letter of it's the Chiefs, but yeah, they're where did I have it here? 24th in defensive EPA pass attempt, bottom of the half of the league in defensive DVOA as well. So that definitely not, and that goes hand in hand with Jameis too, where if you need a quarterback and you're not, feeling whatever options, like I know you take the good with the bad, but Jameis is a pretty
nice good
starter for whatever you can get out of him. Yeah.
Jalen McMillan on my bench in the Fantasy and Frames Dynasty League this week.
Imagine.
I know.
Look, wait a minute. Last week or this week? You're saying screw you, Kev. I'm just going to
I'm saying I had him on my bench.
Just making sure.
I did not start him because I was hoping it'd be a Mike Evans, Kate Otten day, but alas.
There haven't been very many Kate Otten days lately.
Since the good times, the good old days.
Yeah, since the Carter administration, certainly.
Yeah.
But, look, Jalen McMillan, we were, touting him at the very, in August and July as a guy who can immediately start, and he pretty much did. And then he got hurt, came back. I think he played 2 games above 80% routes, got hurt again, and now he's back. We have a saying, never late, just early. And that's pretty much what we've been at with Jalen McMillan. So ran 88% routes per drop back. And had a good week. 459, 2 touchdowns. I know Sterling Shepard has been, pretty good, and he'll still have a role in the offense. But as far as like a playmaker in the offense alongside Mike Evans, especially in the passing game, where it's been really hit or miss outside of Mike Evans, and Kate Otten hasn't been around that much. They're not getting much outside of like any of the other spare parts that they have at wide receiver. Jalen McMillan, there's a reason they drafted this guy at the end of day 2. Obviously we saw some flashes when he was at Washington. We just talked about it with Roma Dunze, with Jalen Polk, with obviously Michael Penix throwing the ball, and the Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb offense. So I'm still very much in on Jalen McMillan. He got hurt a couple times, and it didn't really help matters here. But at the very least, he should be much more rostered than 12%. Because with waivers, I know it's really tough to like start any of these guys really, because more than likely you already have a playoff team outside of like injuries. You have a playoff team that's almost set and forget at this point, but you can also make defensive moves to protect anybody else who may have a deficiency, where if they need a wide receiver, that's one less guy that they can pick up. So I think that in and of itself is worth it to pick up these guys if you have the spots to grab them. And I will, definitely pick up a guy that's young that, certainly has some untapped upside in Jalen McMillan. And what we know is a pretty good Buccaneers passing game.
Nice. Our last guy is somebody who made me think of South Park when I said his name. Who wants Tim Patrick. 2% rostered. Rich, go ahead.
Nice. So, Tim Patrick, last 4 weeks have been really interesting for Tim Patrick. His snap count has been kind of going up and down for the last 4 weeks, and it's been slowly going up as the year has gone on. He's had a 64% snap count over the last 4 weeks, 9% target rate, 11.1 points per game, which was helped by the one big game that he had this last week. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt. Yes, he had 22.3 points this last week, with 6 catches for I didn't write down the number of yards.
43.
Anyways, 43. Thank you. Yeah, not many yards, but he did have the 2 touchdowns, which helped a lot. And he's only missed 4 catches over the past 4 weeks. So you can tell that the Lions are trying to get him more involved. They're trying to bring him in more. And I think that this week, going up against the Bills, it is a little bit tougher of a matchup, but I think that he'll get a little bit more, like a lot of the focus is going to go on Amon-Ra St. Brown, so he's going to get a little bit more wiggle room. And the Bills have still been giving up 25 points per game. So I think that he has a good chance of making an impact this week.
Yeah, on an offense that's as dynamic and as, bountiful as the Lions are, Tim Patrick, I mean, what Josh Reynolds gave this team for years, that's pretty much what Tim Patrick is right now. And the fact that Khalif Raymond went on IR after week 12 pretty much opened the door for Tim Patrick to be like the wide receiver as far as someone outside, a non-duplicative skill set with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Patrick couldn't be any, more different from those guys as far as a big body that what he can offer at the wide receiver position. So yeah, I think Tim Patrick is like he feels like a Dan Campbell guy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we know what Josh Reynolds has given this team, so it feels like a 1-for-1 swap with, and I think they probably got a little bit better out of the deal with swapping in Patrick for Reynolds. So definitely like that, but it's going to come at the price of he's got to run like more than 70% of routes, because I do think that can hold him back from some upside. But on the other side of the things, it's the Lions offense, which is scoring points like a freaking pinball machine.
Right.
Charlene has a question. She wants to know, do we pick up Tim Patrick over Noah Brown?
Noah Brown in a PPR format just because of just volume that he gets more than Patrick. But if you're like more to like half PPR, like standard, I would probably lean Patrick.
Commanders play the Saints this weekend. Got a couple more wide receiver questions before we move on for the night. Jonathan wants to know, his receivers are Scary Terry, McConkey, Ridley, Keenan Allen, and Juwan Jennings. On waivers, he's got Addison, Thielen, and Shepard available. Are any of those worth a pick? Dude, Jordan Addison, holy guacamole.
Addison.
Mm-hmm. 2 30-point games in the last 3 weeks.
I would still rather have Thielen. Personally, I just think you're going to get consistent volume. And again, 22 starts with Bryce Young. He scored 20-plus points in 10 of them. So, I mean, when you got a guy that's basically scoring a 20-burger every other start with a guy, I like that. I mean, I like Addison, too. I just think he's going to be a boomer bust guy, to where at least with Thielen, you're guaranteed to get, a few receptions and probably 10-plus targets each week.
Well, and we did talk about them playing Dallas this week, the Panthers, and how Dallas is not a great defense. Anybody else, any thoughts?
I mean, it's sad to say, but I'm probably with Keith on the Thielen thing. A little slightly over Addison, though. Both dudes need to get picked up. I'd probably pick up one or the other over probably Keenan Allen.
Okay. Let's see. Angie's got a question here for us. So full team or full PPR 14-teamer, I have a feeling I know what league this is. Angie, congrats, by the way. Do you drop any of these for Romeo Dubs? Quentin Johnston, Cooks, Downs, her other receivers are Metcalf and Adams. She'll play 3 out of 4 of them this week, depending on whether or not Bucky Irving is still injured come Sunday.
I dropped QJ. I know it's tough, but QJ is just so dependent on the touchdown for any sort of fantasy scoring that, like, he had 1 week over 51 yards receiving, and he has 2 games over 6 targets this season. Like, I think you could probably pick up. I would feel better with Dobbs as far as like week to week consistency.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Will wants to know any thoughts on our boy NWI with the Levis injury and the dud that he put up. He's considering dropping him to pick up somebody like a Taylor, Sincere McCormick, Henry Miller, Isaiah Davis for his PPR flex. Well, I know for sure we're going to talk about Sincere McCormick, Patrick Taylor, and Isaiah Davis all when we get to running backs here in just a minute. Are we kicking NWI to the curb? Kev is.
I mean, look, I'm a humble guy. I don't like to brag about the things that I get right at all. I'm very much a stick to the background type of guy in matters such as these. So I'll defer to the lovely panel here.
I like how Keith purposely not listening.
I mean, I still think he's a fine streaming option. I mean, Tennessee is going to be down. They're going to be chucking. And I mean, as somebody who paid a lot more attention to that game than I normally would.
A 10-6 Jaguars tight,
I know.
How
it's
sick
awful.
you have to be.
Dude, I didn't want a second pie because unfortunately when we got into the fourth quarter and Cousins, threw, I think, his second or third pick, I knew that was over.
I pretended that game didn't exist.
And he actually threw 2 different targets to Westbrook-Ikini in the red zone. He had the
back corner one.
Yeah. And then one of them it wouldn't have mattered even though it didn't connect because they ended up calling holding and it got moved back. But I'm saying there was 2 more, red zone touches for him. And oh my God, I was like, oh, just please give me something here. But I think Tennessee stinks. I think they're going to be down. But I mean, if you're asking me in the context of those guys, especially when Sincere McCormick being a pass catching back, and if Taylor, same situation, like I would rather have those running backs because they're probably just as likely, and this is what Kevin was talking about last week, to get the targets that Westbrook-Ikini is. Plus you get all the carries. And, with Sincere, and we'll get into it in just a moment, there's a lot of metrics that show Stu's pretty good. So if he's out there, I would definitely prioritize him.
Yeah, Sincere McCormick, and then Nick Westbrook-Ikine is Insincere McCormick.
Oh my goodness,
that was the worst. I'm just
That was bad.
He recommended Aaron Rodgers. We know he's losing his fastball.
Yeah,
everybody gets one.
Kev's been smoking too much of the ayahuasca. That's what it sounds like. He just did his darkness retreat. That's where you went.
Yeah.
Now I'm done. Okay. Tristan's got a start-sit question for us before we move on to running back. So I really think Tristan just wanted to humble brag over his team here. He's got to start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. It's between JJ, Amon-Ra, Puka, Joe Mixon, Kyron Williams, and David Montgomery. So basically, one of these has to go.
You in a 4-team league, buddy?
Yeah, holy cow! How'd you pull that off, Tristan? That's
right.
Serious. That's a nice little team you got there.
Yeah.
Dude.
I don't know how you get rid of any of those guys.
Yeah.
If you're gonna sit one, I mean, Kyron.
After what he just did? No, I mean,
Joe Mixon against Miami, I think that's a pretty good matchup, and he has legitimately been their offense. And how are you going to sit David Montgomery, who seems like he's ticketed for 2 touchdowns against the Bills?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you sit any of these guys.
Well, I think Kev's right that the one that makes the most sense, and I know that's hard to do when it's somebody like Justin Jefferson, but I mean, let's be honest. I know the Bears kind of got cooked last week, but really from a receiving yardage standpoint, that was mostly George Kittle. Jennings just, obviously got, fortunate to catch the 2 touchdowns, I think on just 5 catches. That's still a really good pass defense. And the rest of them have, good matchups. So for me, it would either be Kyron, versus the Niners, because I do think that there's a chance that Stafford and them are just going to pepper targets to Puka to the end of time at this point. And if he doesn't get that touchdown in the red zone, like Williams has really fallen off in the tens of yards per carry and all that stuff. But I actually would probably lean slightly Jefferson, because I have a feeling the Rams are going to end the Niners season this Thursday and he gets a touchdown.
You can't sit Jeff. No, you can't. I can't sign off on that. I'm sorry. There will be no Jefferson slander on these airwaves.
It's not even me going to the defense of him.
I think Kristen should just flip a coin at this point.
Right.
Or just draw a name out of a hat. They're all great.
San Francisco looked the most like San Francisco has in the past month and a half.
Yes.
Last week. Sorry, Erica, earmuffs, but yeah.
I would argue, though, that was with a Bears team that had no running backs and has already struggled running the ball. And I do think that, I think that the Rams can run on them, and that's going to open up the pass and everything else, especially with I actually thought that was a bad matchup for Puka last week. And goodness gracious, he is maybe the best wide receiver in football right now. I think there's a real argument for that.
Man, it'd be nice if the Bears had a running back kind of like a David Montgomery or something.
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
No regrets there, right?
No regrets.
No regrets. Oh my gosh, guys. All right. 5207. Moving on to the running back options for us tonight. I see we got a lot of running back questions out there. We got some defense questions tonight too. We are going to get to those. We got Sincere McCormick, 19%. We have any San Francisco running backs who have not yet been injured, coming in at a combined 5% of the 3 that we will discuss. We also have any New York Jets running backs with a pulse, meaning Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis for you. Kev, Keith, Sincere McCormick, CMC. Or SMC, sorry.
Keith, I'll let you. I'll see the floor to you.
Okay. I gotta admit, I was a little naive, and luckily, when I saw Madison and White were out late, Sunday morning for Scott Fishbowl, one of the reasons I advanced was this guy was available. I went out and grabbed him, and man, did he hook me up. So I appreciate that. But I mean, you got routes, snaps, targets, touches. They're all up. He's 11th among all running backs last week in terms of the backfield XFP for that game. Career highs in week 14 and snap share opportunities. He's averaging 5.4 yards per carry since week 12. And I mean, I don't have to talk to you about how trash the rest of the backfield is. Again, sorry about pushing Zamir White this summer. Running backs this season with 60-plus rushing yards versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Sincere McCormick, that's it. That's the entire list. He's the only back to do it, and he did it at 5.4 yards per carry. And then the efficiency stuff among the 75 qualifying running backs, 6 in yards per carry, 21st and third in explosive runs. Look at the other Raiders. Zamir White, 74th in yards per carry, 66th in explosive runs. And Madison, 67th in yards per carry, 52nd in explosive runs. And we've seen this from the Raiders just last year, where they rode the hot hand of Zamir White, and he probably helped you win fantasy playoffs if you had him, because he had a monster stretch about this time of the season. And Atlanta, our run defense is slipping. It's kind of funny that we're finally starting to get a little bit of pass rush. Obviously, we're not doing a very good job stopping deep balls, but Aaron Jones had a decent game. Cam Akers had a decent game. More and more running backs are getting yards against us, and we do give up a lot of receptions. to running backs. And I can tell you with Desmond Ridder starting, it's even more likely because he is a quarterback who loves to throw to his running backs. I think McCormick is a guy that needs to be owned in all leagues. Obviously, there's a little risk because we don't know when Madison is back, which they expect him to be this week. What the snap counts are going to be, but 6th in yards per carry, 67th, 3rd in explosive run, 52nd. It's not even close. And Antonio Pierce has proved before he will lean on a running back. And I would think that would be especially so with Desmond, the fumbler Ridder, getting ready to start this week.
Yeah, just to add on to the McCormick stuff, he was 5th of 35 qualifying running backs in rush EPA this week, just behind Saquon Barkley and ahead of Tony Pollard. In raw rush yards over expectation, he was 3rd ahead of Saquon Barkley, just behind Zach Charbonnet, Rico Dowdle. Yards after contact per attempt, Sincere McCormick 8th out of 35 running. 35 running backs. So the metrics are all looking good for our boy Sincere McCormick. It would be a total Raiders thing for them to be like, no, we want to see Alexander Madison. We want to see his 8 carries for 14 yards. We want to see that more than we want air to breathe. But I do think that Sincere McCormick has at least, just based on efficiency, has earned a role. And look, at this point of the season for a team where you don't know how many players you have that are going to be carried over to next season outside of obviously the guys you drafted, you want to find players that can be at least contributors next season. So this is like an audition for Sincere McCormick, and they can get rid of Madison. They can get rid of Abdullah. They can figure out something with Zamir White. But I think McCormick, I think for the rest of the season, he's going to be I don't want to say throw out league winner so willy-nilly, but he's going to be a fantasy contributor for a lot of winning teams just based on what we're seeing here. And he's got a schedule that lines up with that. So I'm down. I'm down with Sincere.
Cosign. Ishmael, I was just wondering where you were, why we hadn't seen you yet tonight. And here we go. I feel for you, my friend, because Ishmael here lost 3 straight. Quinn Johnson, he needed 1 point from him. Had some issues with Javonte, Estime, and the last guy he played had Josh Allen.
I think the Johnson game saying he needed 1 point was the one where he dropped 5 passes or whatever. Wasn't that the game where he had, I think that was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, Ismail. I apologize, man. But that's why we're going to be doing some of these draft shows. If you still got the itch to, want to mix it up and play some competitive fantasy football the rest of the way, we'll have you covered.
Exactly. And who among us did not get Josh Allen at some point this week?
I Josh Allen some people. That's for damn sure.
See, that's nice. That feels good.
It was a little too late for Scott Fishbowl, but man, was it nice to go out on top like that.
There you go. There you go. Josh Allen helped win me a free Fantasy Pros team this week. So shout out to you, Joshua Patrick Allen. Thank you very much.
A free what? I'm sorry.
Free Fantasy Pros team next year.
Cool.
So
why do you know his middle name?
Because I Googled it. And I like to refer to people by their middle name.
Erica.
When I drafted Brock Bowers at the Minneapolis Live draft, I drafted him Brock Allen Bowers. So
sometimes I like to make up middle names, and
it's the emphasis.
It really is. All right, guys, I've got this is Stacy time now to talk about some running backs here. And I'm going to talk about 5 of them because if you combine all 5 of them, they might make one.
The bid is real.
Startable running back for you. First, we're going to go with any San Francisco running backs that have not yet been injured. And I say yet because if you play for San Francisco, Lord knows it's probably coming. So, all right, guys. This means we've got Izzy Abanikanda, Patrick Taylor.
What were those movies? The like horror ones where it just kept passing on to on. God, why am I blanking on these? They made a million. Oh my God!
Final Destination.
Yes, Final Destination. That's what this feels like for the Niners backfield.
I feel like IR is the final destination for everybody.
Oh.
It's like the horror ones. I know exactly what that is.
I'm so impressed that Erica got that.
Well, it just shows that not everybody, everybody's making fun of Erica.
Hey, a
knew that
movie I've
somebody.
seen.
Erica
That's
and
why,
Keith
Right?
Erica,
dynamic duo in trivia.
another waiver
I will
wire.
not watch those movies because no.
No,
I
the
saw the
first
roller
one's not
coaster
fun.
part, and I'm like, nope.
I mean, if you watch that movie and can still drive behind a truck carrying logs, you're not.
Or if you watch that movie and you can operate a lawnmower.
Yeah, no. That's it. We're done. No more. No more of that. I'm gonna have nightmares now. The thing of other nightmares is the San Francisco running back room. Again, we've got Izzy Abanikanda, Patrick Taylor, Keyshawn Vaughn, all are rostered under the highest one who's rostered is Patrick Taylor at 8%. Everybody else, Izzy's at 5%, Keyshawn Vaughn 0.4. Garendo, as you guys probably already know, did not practice today. This is a foot sprain issue for him. They do play on Thursday, so that's really important that he didn't practice. Today's Tuesday. So not looking good for our boy Isaac Garendo, who probably gave you quite a few points if you started him last week.
Yet another winner that was given on the show last week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been on Isaac Garendo for a while, right, Keith?
You really taking a shot when I was right on the last time that they both played and CMC went out? Okay, let's not go
Sad I
there.
didn't get to use Isaac Horrendo instead of
that's
the bid equity was good.
so terrible. All right, guys. So they play the Rams this week on Thursday Night Football. The Rams are kind of like a mid-rush defense. They're giving up 21 points to opposing teams' running backs in fantasy so far this week, or this year, not this week, this year. But so far this season, fun fact, the 49ers have put up the 7th most rushing yards in the NFL per game at 138.9 yards. From what I can tell in scouring the internet prior to tonight's show, the pecking order is going to be Taylor, Vaughn, Abanikanda. So if you are looking to replace Garendo in your league, probably make it that way. If you've got it looks like Patrick Taylor, like I said, Patrick Taylor, Vaughn, and then Abanikanda.
I keep winning because I couldn't get Garendo in the 3 leagues. I'm still in the playoffs, but I just was like, well, screw it. I'll just take the backup Taylor. So that actually is good news for Scott Fishbowl as well.
Exactly. And when they played LA already, they already played them in week 3. They did run 52.3% of the time. They had 3 plays for 10 plus yards, and they had 137 total yards rushing. I mean, this is just one of those things where it feels like any running back you put into Kyle Shanahan's system is going to be successcul. So if
it's the same thing for his dad is what's hilarious for those that are old enough for the Broncos. It was like whatever running back, Papa Shanahan threw back in the Denver backfield, they'd be gangbusters.
That's So
except
I mean,
Trey Sermon.
Oh, we don't need to do it. Trey Sermon ended up in the doghouse for some reason.
Oh man, that's one of my biggest whiffs ever.
Yeah, man, I still can't talk about Trey Sermon.
Got that doghouse in him.
Yeah, faux show. Charlene, that's her team over there, I think. She wants to know if she's picking up Taylor, does she drop MVS, Elijah Moore, Devon Bailey, Hunter Henry, or Caleb Williams? She does have 3 quarterbacks in a 1 QB redraft. Are any of these guys options? I mean, I feel like I would not drop Hunter Henry.
I think Caleb's overkill in a single QB league.
Yeah. Who are your other quarterbacks though, Charlene?
I would assume
probably better than Caleb if you listed Caleb is what I'm guessing. Caleb probably. You can give him the axe. And then, next week when Patrick Taylor gets hurt, you can go get Izzy Abanikanda or Keyshawn Vaughn. We had a few other questions. About these. They involve some other guys that we're going to talk about here in a second. So guys, I will get to those questions here in just a minute, but I want to talk about also any New York running back with a pulse, which would be Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. So Braylon Allen is listed on here. He is at 45.9%. So there's a chance that he may not be available in your league, but Isaiah Davis is only at 5.2%. And he did get he got 1 touchdown this week. He almost got 2. They play Jacksonville next week. I know we've, every week it's like, let's poo on Jacksonville, but for real, because I mean, it's warranted. Yeah. Shut up, Kevin.
It's just a very like, let's just pull it back to
the gutter. Like I'm just gonna make this short and sweet. Okay. Jacksonville gives up the second most fantasy points to opposing teams' running backs, and this, of course, is if Breece Hall is out next week. If he's playing, then ignore everything that I'm about to say. But last week against the Dolphins, Allen and Davis split the carries. They had near identical numbers in both ground and through the air. Davis did get the touchdown. Like I said, he almost had 2. If you were unfortunately watching that game, you saw where he nearly got in the end zone. Again, the Jags are allowing the most total yards per game in the year of our Lord 2024 with 390.6. And since 2022, the Lions allowed 392.4 yards per game. So the Jags are just setting records over here all over the place, and not in a good way. So again, if you need some help, I think we pretty much got them in order of how we would all rank them, right? Sincere, probably Patrick Taylor, and then one of these 2 for New York.
I think that's
fair. Yeah, more. I'd probably could. Yeah, more is fine over Vele. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. We got a few questions that I want to get to that they've been patiently waiting for us. Jason over here wants to know, does he drop Isaiah Davis or Braylon Allen for Sincere McCormick, Patrick Taylor, one of those 2, and his running backs currently? Who's AK? Why am I blanking?
Alvin
Kamara.
Thank you. Kamara, Bucky Irving, Breece Hall, Tyron Tracy, Rico Dowdle, and Braylon Allen. He has Allen and Davis. Okay, and this is a half-point PPR.
I mean, I'd rather have McCormick and Taylor over
I think so too.
either of the. Oh, I don't know. Because they pretty much split. The Jets pretty much split that backfield like 50-50. It was the Devils like backfield split. Kind of what we saw out of like Devin Singletary and like Zach Moss a long time ago in Buffalo, where they would literally just cut the roll in half and both guys would be like half a running back. But Davis, by the way, famous South Dakota State Jackrabbit, Isaiah Davis, by the way. I think I'd still take Taylor over Braylon and Davis. I think it's closer. But I would take Sincere over all those guys. So yeah, I would definitely pick McCormick up.
Yeah.
I mean, are the Jets really going to play Breece Hall again this season with nothing to play for? Because they keep saying publicly that they are, and I just look at like what just happened to Jonathan Brooks as to why you don't play with fire when you got somebody banged up or whatever. Because
yeah, but these guys though, they want they just don't care. They want some guys just want to play.
I know, but sometimes that's where you got to be the adult and say, like, look, man, this is for your own good. You know what I mean?
Expect any of the Jets to be an adult in the room when Aaron Rodgers.
Touche. Okay, touche. Very fair. Very fair.
We got a couple more questions. It is 9:12 though, so we got a pie bet to get to here that I want to get to. We still got
we have to skip it. No worries, it's fine.
Rupesh wants to know: would you drop Nick Chubb, Sharbs, Braylon Allen for Rashad White? He's got a bye week in his playoffs, but he's looking towards week 16.
I mean, it depends on Ken Walker, but against Green Bay. Teams can kind of run on Green Bay though, but still that's a steep drop off if Walker returns. Plus, who was the other? Oh, Braylon Allen.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Rashad White all day than Braylon Allen. Yeah. I would say drop him over. I would definitely want White because White's not losing any role anytime soon. He looked pretty good last week.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's head on over to the tight end position. We got 2 guys to talk about tonight. We got Grant Calcaterra, and we also have Juwan Johnson. I don't know. Did you guys see Andrew Cooper's post about the fucking Calcaterra wine mixer? The Catalina wine mixer. That maybe just
sounds like him.
It was just like, and it was funny. Anywho, Calcaterra rostered in only 6% of leagues. Juwan Johnson and 18%. Keith, are you really going to talk about a Saints player?
Again, if I'm suggesting a Saints player. It pains me, but I want to give people the best place possible. I'm also at this point just filibustering because I really would like to get to 9:30 where it's like, we got to go. We'll see you next week. But the Saints placed Taysom Hill on IR. It's officially Juwan Johnson season. First game with Hill out, for any, obviously, of the snaps. He was tight end 3, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards, touchdown. That's how gross tight end was last week. That's 12 targets the last 2 games. And remember, that was a game that Taysom Hill went out fairly early. That was the reason for his bump in targets that week as well. Very good schedule rest of the season. Washington 21st, Green Bay 25th. Vegas.
We'll play you off if we have to.
Vegas 29th and Tampa Bay 28th. And I'm not as concerned about the quarterback situation as I would be with a wide receiver, et cetera, because, again, we say this all the time, backup QBs tend to lean and throw even more to tight ends, running backs, et cetera. So I do think Juwan Johnson is somebody who could definitely be in that right at low end, top 12 tight end rest of the season, especially if Taysom Hill doesn't play another snap.
Grant Calcaterra.
Yeah, I get to talk about, by the way, just to kind of divvy up the last name, Calca in Portuguese does mean pants, and Terra does mean earth. So you do with that what you will.
Pants on the ground. Pants on the ground.
Yeah, pants on the ground.
Yeah. Pants on the ground, just bare cheeks to the wind. You're really you're really putting yourself out there with Grant Calcaterra like Keith did in Scott Fishbowl. But look, he is pretty much a 1-for-1 replacement for Dallas Goedert. We know the Philadelphia Eagles offense, especially the passing game, has been a bit suspect. I believe it's Jalen Hurts who has less than 20 completions in the last 5 games. So it's not super fruitful. It's basically off of efficiency. And even AJ Brown's not super happy about it. He was asked at the post game, what is something that they can improve on in their offense, and he just stonewalls and goes, the passing game. And then they asked him what about the passing game? So that's what they have to improve on. But it is a 3-man game because Jahan Dotson has done nothing. Johnny Wilson has done nothing. I mean, Saquon Barkley's in and out, but
he's
legitimately the third time he's all right. I mean, not the passing game, and he's doing everything he can to bury everybody else in the run game.
He's been tackled 10 times at the 1, and he scored a touchdown on 0. Could you imagine the season he's having in any other team?
God. No.
Not great. But at least Calcaterra is running 93% of the routes, scored a touchdown. So look, for the never-ending search for a streaming tight end, you can toss Grant Calcaterra in the pile.
There we go. Guys, we got some defensive questions here real quick that I want to get to. And because we are running a little short on time, I want you guys to just give me just a quick one answer real fast. Jason wants to know Arizona defense versus or KC, Atlanta, or Denver?
Denver.
Who's I don't even know who Denver play. Hold on.
They play the
Denver,
Colts.
Arizona.
Ooh. Erica?
Denver.
All right. We got TS over here. Ravens or Denver this week? I still go
Ravens. Have you seen the line of that game?
Who are they playing? Who are the Ravens
They're playing the Giants. They're 15-point favorites as a
Oh.
road favorite. They have more. The spread is higher than the Giants' implied total at home.
Oh my God. All right. So this is maybe one situation where you might want to take somebody over the Broncos, but
Just a reminder, the Ravens lost to the Raiders and several other teams this year. So I agree with what Kevin's saying, but if any team can screw up an easy matchup, it is the Baltimore Ravens.
You want to take another pie to the face next week with a bet?
all right. Charlie wants to
They're calling you
know
little Debbie.
San Francisco defense or Washington's defense this week.
Washington plays someone. Oh, Saints.
Yeah.
Washington,
Charlene. Hope that was helpful. Kev, take us home with our IDP, and then Keith, you might want to go ahead and text Brittany and tell her to get ready with that pie.
I'll have to do that very slowly.
Well, don't worry, I will read fast. So I want to see this. Edge rusher Matthew Judon of the Atlanta Falcons might as well stick with the veteran. Like Leonard Floyd, Judon is on the wrong side of 30. His first season with the Falcons hasn't gone according to plan, but as recently as 2022, Judon has amassed a 15.5 sack season, and the 19 veteran has warmed up of late with sacks in 2 of the last 3 games. Judon draws a Raiders team in Week 15 that has allowed the 6th most fantasy points to edge rushers this season. Linebacker Marist, the name, Liu Fau. We'll go with that. I apologize in advance if that's wrong. A 3rd-round rookie out of Notre Dame. It was Liu Fau. I got to say this like 4 times. Liu Fau, who took over opposite Eric Kendricks when Demario Obershon was injured his knee against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night. Liu Fau finished that game with 2 total tackles and 1.5 sacks. And while it is far from a sure thing that he'll see the same every down role that Obershon did, that productivity cannot be ignored, especially with the waiver wire thread there at IDP's most important position. Christian Izien of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, cornerback. Izien has been in and out of Tampa's lineup this season in multiple roles, whether it was more of a traditional safety role or manning the slot position. Izien's Week 14 numbers weren't all that impressive, but that may as well have had more to do with the sad state of the Raiders offense than Izien himself. Second-year pro has hit double-digit tackles twice this season. His eligibility as a cornerback with some providers offers a measure of loophole appeal.
Nice.
I looked it up. It's Lou Fowl. You're close.
Well, you know what? Good enough.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do.
Model
right,
high
guys.
school.
Look who has joined us. Hello, Brittany.
Can we full screen that, by the way? Can we?
Yeah. Hold on.
We need
Hey,
the proper
you guys.
optics
No,
for this.
wait, which one?
I don't know why you got 2 different sizes.
You better get the dogs out of here because Nico.
Hold on.
Okay, just an FYI.
Here we go.
There we go.
I hate all.
Yeah,
of
lather
them.
that up there, Brittany.
You should really hate the Falcons. It's their
Seriously,
fault.
him, he's gonna freak out.
Oh my God, I love
Let's-
your
let's
shirt.
see that. Let's see
Yes.
this sweater.
This
here.
Oh wow, that is a sweet sweater.
Yes.
These are the only
Yeah.
Viking colors we have.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gotta go with the theme.
I appreciate
I'll let you look
that
some up.
so
but get out.
much.
Yes.
Wind up with that thing.
I don't care.
Do that one. 1, 2, 3.
So creamy.
Wait for it. And there's number 2.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
that was fantastic.
Oh, that is
Oh,
fantastic.
Brittany, thank you very much.
I mean,
It
really?
is dripping.
What?
Is it delicious?
Pretty good.
Already
You look like Mrs. Doubtfire right now.
Yeah.
Right? Hello.
Oh my goodness,
Oh, that
guys.
was great.
This was fantastic. Good show, everybody. Thanks for everybody who joined us, everybody watching online, all of our excellent questions. Very sorry we couldn't
This
get
was last week's show. I think we could make a lot more dirty jokes. I'm just saying.
we really could.
We
really
kept it
could.
contained. We kept it
you know,
contained
but
tonight.
Brittany,
This is
by
the only
way-
cream pie we could get past the censors. So
Hi-oh.
Oh my goodness. Charlene took a screenshot of that. Charlene, you're going to need to post that for us later, please. Andrea, have a good night. Again, guys, you can go to fantasyandframes.com to get more in-depth waiver information from both Kevin and Gary Davenport there. You can follow all of us online. We are, you can find Keith at Keith Fleming. Erica's at America108 with a K. Kev is at K Thompkins II on Twitter and over on the Blue Sky social. Rich is over here at Richard Sickles at Blue Sky, and you are Rich Sickles GBM, right?
Yeah.
GMB. Wait, no,
Oh, you had it right.
GBM on the
Yeah.
Twitter machine.
Look at how Erica got frozen. Oh, damn it. That was like the greatest frozen moment ever.
Yes. At Stacy _Perez 83 is where you can find me on the Twitter, also on the Blue Sky as well. Guys, we'll be back again for waivers next week to get you ready for the finals. of your championships, hopefully, or semifinals, but get you ready for playoffs regardless. And
I'm not gonna read that book.
oh my goodness.
How do you put it on Just Keep again?
Is helping his dad out, getting him all cleaned up. And on that note, guys, we will see you all next week.
Yeah, you're my boy.
You guys.